Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Watch my video and subscribe my channel. Finn and Bridget's medical investigation might put Grace in jail for lying about Liam's terminal diagnosis. Finn and Bridget work together to go into Grace Buckingham's shady $1 million brain tumor therapy that rescued Liam overnight. This shows that she is a phony. B&B spoilers. Finn exposes Grace's $1 million brain tumor fraud. The doctor who swapped his stethoscope for a glass, Dr. John Finnegan, can't shake the feeling in his stomach. You know the one. When something looks like it can't be real, every red flag is waving in the excellent doctor's face since Liam Spencer's brain tumor disappeared overnight after secret $1 million surgery. And when Finn starts to investigate, Grace Buckingham's immaculate medical deception is about to fall apart like a house of cards in a storm. Finn's medical instincts are screaming fraud since Bill Spencer recently celebrated his son's amazing recovery after paying Grace $1 million for an experimental, off-the-books brain operation. The MRI shows that Liam's tumor, which couldn't be removed, is completely gone. Just like that. Poof! Medical miracle, right? Wrong. Any doctor worth their degree knows deadly brain tumors don't disappear overnight, no matter how much money you throw at them. Grace's fatal mistake. Getting sloppy when the stakes were sky high. Let's talk about how Grace bungled this con worse than a rookie quarterback in the Super Bowl. This woman had Bill precisely where she wanted him. Desperate, guilty, and eager to pay anything to save his son. Bill was already drowning in guilt because his actions led to Luna Nozowa shooting Liam. Talk about the perfect mark for a medical scammer. Grace struck him with the traditional high-pressure sales presentation. Secret experimental procedure? Check. Demand for immediate payment? Check. Insistence on utter secrecy? Double check. She even tossed in a strange doctor, Otto Carey, who looked more like a janitor than a brain surgeon, according to fans who've been dissecting every frame of that so-called surgery scene. But here's where Grace grew greedy and dumb. She may have requested Bill keep her name out of it. She could have operated from the shadows. Instead, she positioned herself front and center of her miracle cure, practically screaming for someone with true medical understanding to start asking questions. And that someone is Dr. Finnegan. When two ethical doctors unite against one corrupt colleague, Finn isn't going into this inquiry alone. Spoilers imply that Dr. Bridget Forrester might join forces with him to uncover this medical fraud. Now, that's a dream team if we've ever seen one. Bridget has been the moral compass of the Forrester family for decades. She's seen enough lies and betrayal to identify a swindle from a mile away. Plus, she was part of Liam's original diagnostic team. She knows that tumor was real and presumably inoperable. Together, these two doctors are about to pull apart Grace's swindle piece by piece. They'll re-examine Liam's medical records. They'll explore this phantom doctor, Otto Carey. They'll follow that $1 million money trail. And when they deliver their findings to Bill, his shame is going to transform into pure, raw Spencer wrath. The probe won't be some drawn-out mystery for viewers. We already know Grace is guilty as sin. The real drama is seeing our heroes slowly dismantle her house of lies while she scrambles to cover her tracks. It's like seeing a cat play with a mouse. Only this mouse stole $1 million and violated every medical oath in the book. The Buckingham family legacy, like ex-husband, like ex-wife. This isn't the first time a Buckingham has twisted their medical oath for real, hard cash. Remember Dr. Reese Buckingham? Grace's ex-husband pulled his own medical fraud when he exchanged Hope Logan's healthy baby with a stillborn infant and sold little Beth to Steffi Forrester to pay off his gambling debts. $200,000 was all it needed for him to wreck countless lives. Now Grace is following in those illegal footsteps, only she's trying for the $1 million jackpot. Recent plots have hinted at her financial troubles, and some are thinking she's either drowning in debt or just saw an opportunity to get rich quick off Bill's desperation. Either way, she's proving the Buckinghams are a distinct kind of evil, medical professionals who use their white coats as cover for their misdeeds. The fallout that will rock Los Angeles when this swindle explodes, and it will erupt spectacularly. The effects will spread across the canvas. Grace faces the entire annihilation of her life. Medical license? Gone. Freedom? Say hello to a lengthy prison sentence. She'll be joining her ex-husband in the Hall of Shame for dishonest doctors. Liam will have to process the psychological anguish of believing he was dying when it was all a lie. Bill will be publicly humiliated, his wealth and influence twisted against him by a con artist in scrubs. But for Finn, this is his opportunity to shine. He's matured from the good guy, doctor, to a detective who can match wits with great manipulators. Saving the Spencer family from $1 million fraud? That's going to seal his status as a true hero in Steffi's eyes. The best part? This study matches medical professionals who uphold their oath against one who sold hers for a payout. Finn and maybe Bridget symbolize everything good about doctors: integrity, intelligence, and true caring for their patients. Grace represents the bad side, avarice dressed in a white coat, preying on the defenseless. Monday's show is just the beginning. Finn's drive to learn the truth won't be halted by Grace's lies or Bill's steadfast conviction in his miracle. When a doctor's instincts tell him something's medically impossible, he doesn't let it go. He investigates. He digs. He exposes. And Grace Buckingham? She's about to realize that you can fool a desperate millionaire, but you can't fool a doctor who's exchanged his stethoscope for a magnifying glass. Her $1 million deception is unraveling quicker than she can say, experimental procedure. The fraud of the century is poised to become the scandal of the year. Liam's MRI, Will's discovery, Taylor and Brooke unite. The bold and the beautiful recap is finally in for Friday, July 18th, 2025. In today's episode, Liam Spencer wakes up to a spectacular reunion. Katie Logan opens out to Will Spencer. Plus, Taylor Hayes and Brooke Logan strike a pact. Liam Spencer's reunion. At Bill Spencer's residence, the nurse is tending to Liam. After getting off the phone, Bill says they are going to expect company. Hope Logan, Steffi Forrester Finnegan, and John Finnegan arrive, all hoping to see Liam. Bill explains that there was no time to discuss it with them. Grace Buckingham said they needed to act immediately, so he did. Bill explains that it had to be done covertly because of all the red tape in the U.S. They think they got all of the tumor, but they are still waiting for one more MRI. Read this. Find out what occurred in the last episode of B&B. Finn needs material about the method and the numbers. Bill doesn't have any of that. There is a text from Grace. The latest MRI results suggest that the entire tumor is gone. Finn calls it a miracle, and Liam is filled with emotion. Taylor Hayes united. At Forrester Creations, Taylor and Ridge Forrester discuss. Brooke enters and wonders how they are doing. The blonde asks about Steffi. Ridge vows Luna Nozawa won't be a problem ever again. They are all grateful to Liam, but they still believe he's dying. Taylor wonders about canceling the vacation to Italy. Brooke believes they will be out of the country when Liam passes away. Ridge cautions against postponing the trip, but agrees to do what's right for the family. Taylor thinks it's crucial that they unify to help Steffi and Hope be there for Kelly Spencer and Beth Spencer. Brooke totally agrees. Read this, the bold and the beautiful spoilers. Taylor Hayes pressures Ridge to set wedding date. Will Spencer's discovery. In another office, Electra Forrester screams about kooky Luna to Will. Katie arrives and says Liam survived the bullet, but he'll still die. Will becomes sad, thinking about his sibling dying. Will insists they will try every possibility. Will starts to cry in front of his mom, while Electra tries to calm him. Back over with Liam. Everyone is thrilled over this medical miracle. However, may there be side effects or other worries after the fact. Hope Steffi and Finn still appear bewildered, but everyone is pleased that Liam is going to live after all. Taylor Hayes' broken heart syndrome coming back with a vengeance. With all of the craziness on The Bold and the Beautiful, it's easy to forget that not too long ago Taylor Hayes was in the hospital and fighting for her life. When Taylor returned to Los Angeles last year, she was facing a fatal case of broken heart syndrome. Will the sickness return this summer? Keep reading to find out. Here's what's coming up next week on Bold and Beautiful. Spoilers ahead. Ridge gets cold feet. Taylor Hayes' aspirations are coming true on the CBS soap. Not only did she reunite with her long-lost love Ridge Forrester, but the couple is engaged to get married. Everything is finally falling into place for Steffi Forrester's mother, but there's a catch. Is Ridge still in love with Brooke Logan? B&B spoilers claim Taylor will be distraught when she finds that Ridge is dragging his feet and refusing to set a wedding date because he is starting to have concerns. All it took was Captain Nick Marone canoodling with Brooke for Ridge to recall that he is still in love with her. Is Ridge going to call off the wedding because he still wants to be with Brooke Logan? If he marries Taylor, then he could lose Brooke to his half-brother forever. However, Ridge knows that Taylor's heart might give out if he doesn't marry her. He would never forgive himself if his kids were left without a mother, since he was jealous of Nick and Brooke. Taylor's health declines. The Bold and the Beautiful rumors also imply that Taylor could utilize her broken heart syndrome to her advantage. She may claim she is having heart difficulties again to lure Ridge back in and make it impossible for him to cancel the wedding. What do you think, B&B fans? Is Taylor's broken heart syndrome going to make a comeback if Ridge doesn't set a wedding date? Do you think there will truly be a wedding? The Bold and the Beautiful explodes into chaos as Dr. John Finnegan and Dr. Bridget Forrester launch a full-scale medical investigation into Grace Buckingham's too-good-to-be-true brain tumor cure. And what they find could not only strip Grace of her medical license, but send her straight to prison for fraud, malpractice, and reckless endangerment. It all began the moment Liam Spencer, supposedly diagnosed with a terminal, inoperable brain tumor just days after surviving a gunshot wound from a deranged Luninozoa, miraculously awoke in Bill Spencer's mansion with the latest MRI showing a complete disappearance of the mass. No tumor, no complications, just a clean bill of health and a sea of tears from his grateful father. But not everyone is buying it, especially Finn. For a guy whose life has been defined by the razor-thin border between life and death. Finn understands that tumors don't go overnight, not without scars, inflammation, post-op issues, or at least considerable paperwork. And yet, all they had was Grace's word and a vague reference to an off-the-books associate dubbed Dr. Autocary, whose credentials remain as elusive as the cure itself. Bridget Forrester, long suspecting that something was awry after being removed from Liam's case without justification, joins Finn to audit Liam's complete treatment history. Together, they pore over Liam's initial diagnosis, pathology reports, and scans obtained before to the surgery. They unearth inconsistencies, skin overlays that don't match, signatures forged in the margins, and one critical missing file. Liam's pre-op blood work, which would have showed if he was even readied for invasive treatment. As the two doctors pull back the curtain, they uncover a sickening pattern of deception. Grace manipulated Bill with emotionally charged language, preyed on his guilt over Luna's shooting, and leveraged his desperation to skip any formal permissions. The procedure, according to Bridget's analysis, likely never happened. What did happen was a tranquilizer supplied to Liam, followed by a succession of expertly constructed digital imaging frauds. They track down the enigmatic Dr. Autocary and discover he's no neurosurgeon. In reality, he's a disgraced medical tech from Las Vegas with no current license, fired from his last position for faking patient test results. The pieces begin to fall into place. Grace, driven into a financial corner after years of private debt, devised the entire ruse, counting on Bill's love for Liam and distaste to hospital bureaucracy to write her a blank check. Now, she's used that $1 million to pay off bills, disappear from conventional hospital shifts, and even transfer monies to an offshore account, which Finn's source in the DOJ is able to locate. Meanwhile, Liam starts questioning his own sanity. The psychological weight of fearing he was dying for weeks, only to be assured he's perfectly fine, begins to eat away at him. He confides in Hope Logan, who insists they have a second opinion with Bridget directly. That visit verifies everything. Liam never had post-surgical swelling, never had anesthesia, and the scar displayed in the photo Grace showed Bill was stolen from an online medical stock image. The controversy begins to erupt in waves. Finn and Bridget report their discoveries to the Medical Board of California, who suspend Grace's license, awaiting a full inquiry. Bill, overcome by grief and wrath, confronts Grace outside her rented home, shoving a printout of the phony MRI report in her face and yelling that she exploited his kid as a pawn in the most twisted con of his life. Grace deflects, accuses Bridget of being jealous of her success, argues Finn is biased because of his relationship to Liam through Steffi, but her explanations are paper-thin. Katie Logan, who'd been warily supporting Grace during Liam's recuperation, breaks down after reading the report and confesses to Will Spencer that she feels horrible for having trusted Grace around her son. Will, still grieving his brother's purported diagnosis, is crushed to hear the sickness never existed, and even more traumatized to understand he was led to mourn a lie. As Grace's world falls, we receive a flashback of her motivation: unpaid credit cards, a foreclosure letter, and a collection agency threatening her daughter's college tuition. Grace, alone and scared, opened an encrypted communication from a shady entity named Dr. Arvid, offering her a one-time opportunity to pull off a lucrative diagnostic forgery for a desperate patient with unlimited cash. Her only task was to sell the falsehood, and she did, with every grin, every confident gesture, every manipulative remark whispered into Bill's ear. But now, the fraud is unraveling. Finn conducts a news conference to update the public, especially because the hospital where Grace conducted the purported treatment is now under audit. Bridget takes a more clinical route, writing a damaging report that's shared among top LA physicians and eventually leaked to the press. The headlines scream, "Beverly Hills doctor stole $1 million IN fake brain tumor cure. Spencer family furious." Meanwhile, Grace makes a final, desperate move. She attempts to depart the country using a phony passport under the name Dr. Grace Rousseau, but she's intercepted at LAX by law enforcement, led by none other than Deputy Chief Baker himself, who informs her she's being charged with multiple felonies, including grand larceny, identity theft, medical malpractice, and attempted flight to evade prosecution. Her arraignment is set, and courtroom drama is looming. Bill commits to attend every hearing. "You don't mess with my son and walk away clean," he pledges as Hope, Steffi, and Ridge Forrester stand by him, while Taylor Hayes, still suffering from Liam's miraculous recovery and the ramifications of her own stress-related health emergency, decides to focus on fixing the damaged family dynamic. Brooke, Logan, and Taylor ultimately find themselves on the same page, agreeing to help Steffi and Hope through the emotional whiplash of the deception. The union between Finn and Bridget not only uncovers the truth, it promotes the virtues of honesty in a medical environment often warped by power and desperation. For Finn, it's personal. For Bridget, it's professional. And for Liam, it's spiritual. He begins treatment to deal with the trauma of thinking he was dying, only to learn he's still standing, alive. And now, he wants answers. Why was he targeted? Why did everyone expect the worst? And is there more to this swindle than just Grace's desperation? He remembers unusual moments, vague conversations near his bedside, unexplained injections, and even a dream where someone said, "Tell no one or it won't stick." Could Grace have been working with someone else? Was this part of a broader medical con ring? Bridget thinks so, and she's determined to unearth it. As Grace's trial nears, a fresh surprise drops. Dr. Otto Carey, in a plea deal, names another co-conspirator, Dr. Reese Buckingham, recently paroled. Apparently, Reese reached out to Grace through a mutual acquaintance, offering her the perfect strategy to settle both their debts. Reese had already established the con infrastructure: dummy scans, anonymous routing numbers, and patient transport documents from his prior frauds. Grace only had to execute. So now the Buckinghams stand exposed as a legacy of medical criminals, while the Forrester-Spencer families are left suffering from the treachery. Grace's mugshot is blasted across news stations. Her bail is refused. Bill receives word that his $1 million cannot be recovered yet, but he pledges revenge. Declaring Grace's disgrace would be a lesson to every grifter who thinks the Spencer name equals unquestioning faith. As this controversy becomes the defining medical and emotional tale of the year, one thing is certain: Grace Buckingham chose the wrong family to scam.